Gabine Zoom Salotina Edladot, good morning. Say hi, say what's up. Tumslad Zinont Ala no Teherel Yaha they see Moosh Jazant Alu. It's a little bit of windy, but it's all good Nezu. De rare Edladot no Nenens and Lahunt Au and throw it in the comments at Johnson. It's always good to see those guys in Denadurelt see. But anyway, see Willis Janvier, who's in Telas Tours in Lawage, Saskatchewan, Clearwater River Dene Nation band member, the Heslio, and Dun Zinege, Treaty 4 territory, here's in Oal Huntati Dana Dliada, no, but guess who's Te Nano, it's in Hatchet Lake, Twe, Rosalie to Tsannie-Burseth, the Dun Oal Huntata Daza, Rosalie, die gaan heel tjere doen school kai from residential school to doing that seek another no ja basu just education then su boss anything we're going to touch on that so Gimmakandi Lela Chief in Leo one term in 2007 Nortep the 9 there U of A U of S all universities from coast to coast, pretty much. Touring a Dicker at the India. So, that's a pretty cool story. And don't I'm happy to have her here. So, I must see this then. The questions, what's in it? Johnson, just throw it in the comments. I see it fills my heart when I see comments. So, throw it out there. Massive and Banul doing Rosalie to Tsannie-Burseth. Rosalie Dlanet
Certainly earlier, a bit earlier.
Earlier, by earlier, let's see another.
PA answers between PA and Duck Lake, McDowell will give Lee Nunez in Oster on the farm.
Sets any another. Yeah, a lowly Mohulia column Ladder, Alberta out here. Maybe yeah.
Across the road, Saga, nothing other not something that Lisa Basutly, that's only because
Yeah. Nezu. Well, once again, my senior Rosalie Dona sa halon tainta. Then ha introducer in Lianis Claria da Banud.
Masi, did abonne there telgal did other is telgal, but I'm not at her so must to say. Thanks towards this in Hatchet Lake, Wollaston Lake, the snow. A year huli Holani Nena and Nara Hassanel Tan ha neither is a year Hassanel Town, at least Conatha universities Nila year. And that's all Nortapthe. You're just a quanestra. Then a honey tana a year sequi kindergarten, table by Seconil town, or the elementary division 1 and 2, Secodonil town cool, Dene Yati, Bonest essays on honey town, a year the administration Hennister, a year vice principal, co-principal, associate director, director of education, you who you healthy. Dene Yati Bazit this Conatha University Honestana is a Dabaganest, let's see, a year one term, Cornilla, than whether he lay, then it's Esniha, Bangathane Doon, don't overlast Nade, Trudy Tanha, Alas Nabits, a lead researcher, the Nanes Tau, Erislis Nesha, a Debangathane research work, Santai, then a contract works in about Erislisla, a Gonaster. So a Gonaster is with a Saga Dusinistan. The wars a Jedama Sinistan City could not understand a Betella, Donisani, a Vidin, Nide Hunehelo, Hydrosan Nestana.
Nezu, but earlier, it's Nathan all the accomplishments, success over the years, and a lot of hard work on Nathan out Azu and Niselant. That's important. I know residential school nine zero yas no halhulni ga.
Okay. Yes, is a question of Hanas Nejo, think Jane Sagayeto, ni Nightinanonizi, we're on the land. Tatwe asu kaninits intelligence. So, Sino, Tatwe Nightina, did it down with the Ronsnade, like pictures last in Sina, so, but it shows you a glimpse of the Ohuya, a year Anania, a sechne. Nun Hamilton kan go has sechne school kan go has sechne kusin no on the horror say that's a di oshila o school to in the just ilo could August and that's in 1964 and then this gets a salon ton among Disney this gets a salon ton which is mom's brother. So I was skipping with them. See school has sad since in this agora who was alid azu said sorry Flora H2 bis alid azu asho tano de ha koshli sibis ahit awu yanena yesen tan twene chila ga ane tan twene chila ne jaku ahini dilese ku height sese and the way we are katasa ga yesi saba nuts in chila so for me it's in either last jaw the old ducklets and we do ocean is clearly hanastane this say yo this brick building eastern here neither ku her use about get your own new to see two ganas tau yes ganas tau to the dick ganas tau it's as to see that's my worldview again Korea ni yo about the work and the horror then yet the abaya tesi to in it they just I lo ku hanasni hare hote ya dana haraze nan such a do a sa yisor in channel hanila danik sare te daneta betiga chat adija and sabasti lajilikas nathian in nedan nanjidol to ye to te hasan hunas tanisi and danete nuthiga hesulin hallo nishina da oha. So for me and but as by because Sicily need I remember that and I just felt at that time because of my hair I was severed from my language and culture a year and the other one too is and we couldn't we get into trouble for that so sorry to the dorms attachment halla night in the year then on time then I to it is chine so a year and the language and culture they don't do sequida dan west our about a year that's how my education began kuli so question dan kunidi and nothing is not it so yate ashul helenistan because for me that's my identity that's who I am kuli I think it was grade 4 or 5 a year the curriculum changes your way of thinking because it's imposed on you to any curriculum see but my thinking started to change and just the way so could I done with and honorat law hell honorat law done as you adult in anything and about education shouldn't be that way in this and nothing how are they so quick don't every child matters Nila. Every child should have a good education by a chat of its on net a year a kunestan Kli danaharazu aizon nak a hotel dan hintan huli aha sekwi asota de nutsuno ni lehina we certain things huli huli shapen nas ne sekweslo for Thai and I seen it in regular film movie like that based on Hunilio and it was and I can still access that. It's a documentary about the caribou and Brochet in the early 50s. I just cried and I cried because I could see my culture on screen and I was in a different environment. So you learn to persevere, you learn to be strong. At the had not because I could have given in long time ago. Hey, cool a year the school night Joe 1970 Tandi Ananya do Yacheza do Janu Atnut Asasole Yare Hanunel Chanhane. So that would have been grade 6, or I'm not too sure around there. Just give me a second here. Kusin nes the ore Sandanet and Hasunel Chan City Quibas Naster Nestan. Kuli Sabahon Ele Lojahuli going back to residential school. There was no Sankuli no tonle nani ton. Sits a delay that Sayacheta or there's no love, there's no embracement, there's no words of endearment. So and then it's about how I survived was Sarah Flora, Hansen Yedon, let as the Anani Hoyesnisa, Nedese, Bonshni, and another a son, a son, so when things were bothering me, the gore, Sakusa and she used to always say, Asole, Asole, Asole. To this day, I think that way, Asole, because that was words of consolation where we had to protect each other. When you're not in your environment, Saku, and now the word and the hunt in the cheekbones, you're so ugly, you're this new hits now. So I grew up kind of thinking that way, but putting that aside, the curriculum taught me to almost be embarrassed of who I was. At one point, not a long time, and I used to think, okay, Dick and Jane, Toliun Totene, all the literature we read was Totene, and it's a European system. So at one time, sit in this, that was a real short phase. Really and true to my language and culture, so I was a little bit of a rebel, but really quiet. I was really quiet, really. So that's the residential school part of it. It's sometimes a little emotional, but you have to put that in perspective because you're doing the things based on that. It's so que sayache davar sabanatra is the city kun could have taken in ne way at shu some do it hure nutanyo so tani hotel so next time see but the nas zo tabiti anaster in between residential school. So it's that part of the history. When I look back, you think, well, it was bad, but it really made me the person that I am today. Really the way society is. A friend once asked me, can you give me one word to describe how you feel as a Dene person in different worlds? And I said, well, I had to think about it. And I said turmoil, because not necessarily everybody accepts you in the white society and not society, in the Dene society, because Sabao si al Dene. And that's what I meant when I went back to school for grade 6 or 7. I used to quit. The bullying didn't stop right through high school. Then I went out to Carleton High School. I was the odd Dene there, just the odd. Like I said, I persevered, and then university. When I through I think it was U of R. I was doing the master's program when Leicester. And you don't una arrange just and Chabet Chanesan who kiss. kuchela kwasla is on earth love. That's on earth and it's because it's on nine not that direct. So it's always that way. And for me, the way to survive all that was to be strong, because in your heart is what your teachings that will sit you quite doesn't time. So,
Mm-hmm.
honest and not so quick, but honest, let's be a teha.
Mm-hmm. Bullying, abuse, racism, especially orange sound, you doing call a hosting it. Nan's on that new school, day.
Um, the first 3 years, we couldn't answer any than with a dinner.
Mm.
So, then I Tarea Chide and Quanunil Sin Tutine, Bonley, French, Itabacona de Huli Hotel and Winston Abanasne, Favolit are all given us now. And she was my grade 2 teacher, Miss Pajo Huli Ege. But when I did Huli, the very first time we went home was in 1968 for Christmas. And yeah, he delu, yes, not a chilla, it is I found myself in we were at Dengoniquan. It was a place where medical hanits in Dilsi a year New Hanelia. I've been done it o so quickly see we as Italianate as so anulino tehit who is done it as we were done it chilo who it I is not there. And we didn't know Anani was there to have her baby, which was Janet, so it is Janet really. And could I use her and I know, we're not done to quite Yistani as a is Nananote, Yisne, who Tindat a yaw, the way and Nathan Hill as her no ile. Tiyaninja. What's a cost not there? Yeah, you yes, other cost not shahine. Ku do chase and hine. That is Sassin Anna. I said to Newt and his net sauce, it's about and hine. So, a year say, Anna Anna. A being, and she must have knew maternally that she was going to have her baby that night. Ku a being done it, and who said, DC who'll see who's clear, no has admitted this is and for me again, the next thing I remembered a cool sketch today. It was kind of like a hop, skip, and a jump to other places. So I think South End took Co-op and Brochet, and finally not on Tedu that way. And I remember it was either Beaver or Norseman. So Daskaja na it was just on the verge of day and na could see but I let how bizarre whether G intended this who's gonna take you guys home fishing Kuhijo out quickly. That's first time home for Christmas. And out in the horizon I saw a little dot on in the chajo satane kine you know no, it's one of those memories I just hold so dear to my heart. It's so vivid. So no, he just threw us up at Chariare. She gave Bethany and we to and I did. I mean, for me, I thought I went to heaven then. So, and then just bits and pieces of Tanya, because Mom was out for her baby, and Koyer. Then they gave us these little ornaments for Christmas. So tadi din we no ha alkanen tani chile kula hai no hne ho uli ari third disini to printo no el kanse elas no hanen to did it big assess the Christmas tree no. So that was the first time home for Christmas. So there's so much for me to write about on radio. Yeah, just what you through the loneliness, you go through the happiness, the poignant parts in your life where you pick out memories, but that's and all that.
Bonnery Yalante, ne tire ni Joe. Dlant yeder ni then on the sandwich in Yana dro a dan harko the old yana to some maybe a Christmas who can see a basa.
La high out I exalas no ornaments no because it's different. But
Yeah.
that one else on the previous years cool again about a set again.
Mm.
So it's just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you queer, it's Carlton school line there, the lad Carlton and all the new grade 12 year and all then so.
I went to, well, first grade 7, 8, 9, Tashtwe, because high school do DC. A year schools on night there is a coup a year because they didn't offer high school. So Carlton, what I did actually was grade 11, 12, Kaiyao is just too much for me, racism. So eventually, I did finish my grade 12 eventually. And then in 1980, I was working as a TA at Wollaston Lake School at the time, which is Northern Lake School Division. Doing band school, doing authority school. So a year, then I had to then Sisney, and the principal at the time, Mike Dvorak, will give us Tsannie, you're doing so well as a TA. I think you should go to school session. And I said, what here? Fill out this form session. But hey, you're going to send there, Lena. I was just happy at home, and my parents are doing everything for us. It was a beautiful environment they raised us. So I filled it out, and we'll see what happens in you. And I got accepted. So, and that's how my journey began as an academic. Queer Dene Nortep, they were teaching about First Nations across Canada. I was so interested in the history of the Dene and the Cree, the Inuit, the Hurlion. And my first Dene 100 course was with Mary Jane Kaziani. And I remember Tsadaris Nisa when I was young. Sometimes when you're young, then I was a little bit cocky, and she said, what is it more do you think I should learn? I said, say I said, what's it on us through this scene? And I regret those words because to this day, I'm still learning Dene Yati. I'm still learning Dene culture and the way of Dene worldview and the epistemology. I'm still learning. It's a huge, it's like a PhD that I want to endeavor upon Dene Sunlinuta. Without, at PhD that 10, so after the Huya. We get some Daniel here. I still need to talk to him and that some of those concepts he said hurry curlats in consideration. Did you hear you saying it just kind of hit me. It's not a bad thing, it's a way of thought. It's our intelligence that we have. We're saying we attend that though the tunnels in the na tabini yekol yata e yinalzo na kwa ni yelo na ni yiko watanda deni the hilse kuna asik another day and el kare and this is another to something that ko asi ho said it ambasi it's the love that's put into it and it just for me that those were the concepts I was looking for and it was awesome. So from NORTEP, quickly going back to teaching kindergarten, I didn't want to teach kindergarten at first. As teachers, and the way administrators work is they delegate to you based on your skills. So Graham Weston will get can you teach kindergarten? Sa question in Chile. Sa cuide ne Chile the answer ne Chile this. I don't want to, they're too small, it isn't, but those were the best years of my teaching the year for 3 years. It's just so many, and you heard bits and pieces of that a year or so, about my 6th or 7th year. But as Dene, I thought the kids learn best by Yacheda. Dene learned, and it's 1987, so when it's Tenny Joe, so Kurlun Dandarachina could do. Then go the sabaka on nida ka paisa. So my work has always been on that and how to live on the land, how to speak Dene. Don't Dene Kotsan University Huli Iwetla Igantano Donestana.
Yeah, na zuma Torlium see who la. Tornik at school line, there are a lot of universities hutin yala from Nordtep. Bloody ha each one nine there and kind of going back, it's a worldview. I know you said maybe another day it's a new thing, but residential school nine there and now tot all this turmoil and another noni there university and kind of that attitude worldview is instilled in you, not by choice, but called janaba. And ani yaw na batlant ani kundu hutin ya a bit cocky dinila denes think oh shankole and toward all the different universities who you go trying to live in two worlds yeah so no hal hulni toward you education boss it I think
When a child comes to you, Sakonish Kande, they come to you with knowledge already. They come to you, they come to you, ni with who is not Joe, Bayate, a Gane, the word Alcon. It's the word Alcon. So, Oda Nabacoin. They have that knowledge and intelligence already, Lana. So what happens is there's another knowledge that they instill on you. So think of it as nake, two balls, and they kind of merge together. They merge together. So based on their what they have, their intelligence, it could be dual, could be triple, and now so they have all these concepts that they already have within them. So schooling, then they teach them to 1, 2, 3s, ABCs. This is how you do things. This is how you live life. So it merges together. So in between that merge, but in between, another learning concept evolves. So they learn to use the Nasoshina, Yacho, Tsanyo, to really support the English that's coming at them. And yes, there's parents out there, because that's the strength. It really supports English. So when that happens, and I remember my brother, who's younger than me, once told me, and again, it's the three balls. So it kind of merges all together. So educators must know this now, because at the era of reconciliation, teachers need to know that, schools need to know that. So you weren't taught that way. You were taught in the English system. But I know in other countries like Maoris, the Hawaiians, they were on the verge of losing their language right at the very tip. They built it up. Now the school system is from kindergarten to PhD. So that's how our system should be. Sabah.
Yeah.
So the original young, because that's the importance of the way we should be learning, the way very nilila, and I never have let it go, because for me it's important, and it's the students. That's how them is that's on I said we're talking about a fishing unit, and we're going to talk this week about fish. What kind of fish do we have in Wollaston Lake? This is back in 1987. So Chedodi das nicht oder. They were just looking at me. I was saying that I say kunari Tla shwa ja ta choike de so se qui. Shu ul die she was vane who you tin chili you were using and that day for my teaching I switched. And I told my superintendent, we should be teaching this way, but that's a curriculum not dealer. And this is the greatest opportunity right now for Dene teachers to run with our language and culture. I mean, they can walk in both worlds. I'm not saying everybody should just be Dene. Like I've walked in both worlds. It was a journey, but it really makes you the person that you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not sure how, that's very important that you must see, for that message. I hope one day we dedicate that just on that topic because, so then it's in Clearwater. I know a K to 12, I believe. Then didn't tell us to it. Then a lot of Dene teachers. I was fun like in not dealing the college, but when you get to university level, everything is different. Then anani zero. And that comment you made in it, then I didn't know, but you said you regret it, but it's a bit of a hindrance, not that. But all you see her in a university, you don't do that is seeking on there. Ja, sen aber elle land that are because of the curriculums, and هذا don't سيني كونو curriculum هو and then أني باسه إنه هي تيونات سرها don't أسيه هو ليه التي or أها.
I was at a PAGC Nella and 2 years ago because everybody went to their own 30. I just started doing my work and we brought in elders from different communities and some and this is the quote I always use. Net ane bit anansarane. Okay, hinkalusi bit anansarane. And that's how, and you ask me, you message see, then it's in the federal government, the way it is, how they're putting up money for reconciliation, the language and culture, don't have see reclamation, rejuvenation, now, nuni, then in see. We have to do we need to honor that. So that's not it doing right now, my research. Excuse me. How education is developed in our community is not plausible unless we are guided by Asnada. So they have all those concepts and I learned so much from the elders. So and we did that scope and sequence with PAGC at the time, Florence St. Pierre, Jesse Silvestro, Margaret, the audits, and we did scope and sequence. And what we did is the best so we went up to, I think it was grade 9, because there is some 10, 11, 12 Saskatchewan guided curriculum already. I want to work on that. I want to fix it where it's more friendly for us. So laude sequi ulta numbers, colors, so they listed it. And it's amazing. It was each day that we worked with elders, not because there's so much knowledge thrown at you. So what the intention was to put that into the curriculum, into units, into year plans. So the work that I'm doing now is based on all the literature that I've learned through the years. But I've read right down from pre-contact to now, and then how we're going to develop our own educational, linguistic, and cultural framework. It should be in the curriculum, and that's what other countries have done via CHEDA.
Hmm. Yeah, I just told you see that I really enjoy listening to Richt. Um, I just it's very important as Senat Horino Tsannie-Burseth, especially no I yet I ha and then too school nine though from residential school abuse, racism, torlusia, I within yao different curriculums, a lot of different adversity within sila, and like ani thelelant at your keynote in le education gathering, don't do boring ya Dene Yati sa kunin dele, mental health base hore nilon dela, nen bare nar nahal hay yao sunt ilsa. It's very easy sunt ilsa sneha, to really instill that. Dlant the nyoha denaha, that u han nights a daily at theotsi, and tu ani au dar, harass in Atlant Tibabani other Koni boss, especially mental health boss.
Um, a positive, it's a new and you have a did nisana. We always have to be who we are. Like when I DC, I know it's a DC. Her young, then I couldn't even ila. It's not everybody that thinks that way of you. Sequence and said that I saw this, because that's how I kind of frame my comfort in life. So, okay, it's a satane. I'm not true. Hasonel Tanya Hene. Do and it's a didore. Trade do and it's a didore. Kadarin Disana, then Dashon Tisan Asnade. I saw a dinner at the Baradis, that's an artist, then it's an antilis. In terms of mental health, we can't always take to heart what people say to us, because then there's a lot of children sequi, they're vulnerable lila. So that's a DC. They take it to heart. Beneath do it like this, because our sequi had done it in the kindergarten. You're best and and very early I did circles in Sadelti, and they bless those little ones. They trust you right to the core. And for me, it was to start our day. Kudulanite, this thing, kusi, and one time saba a yard this thing, kuli no honne, no tsasa saba this, and they would tell me anything, absolutely anything, what's happening in the home. Which I can't breach as a teacher at that time, but they totally trust you. So I kind of mentally note it, and then right after that, then I do little talks or books by about, okay, when you're in a home with alcoholism or if there's abuse, this is what you can do. So those were learning lessons. Saba, like it can start early. So then then hanaut sarde hotel ala because you develop health issues. So it a mental health no tsaran nisi. It's about then ya trade out and I know when because the land the land heals. So I think those are the opportunities that we have. Doing land based I was doing that 35 years ago. Then I doing a barbecue it's in there, and we're doing that in Tastway, Wollaston Lake, Tadane. So, but I also want to tell you, and even that is therapy on Riga when you think ahead. But I know nether who the Sastos Nation they saw no health who's near. There's no science in the indigenous language at Dilaku. It tells you can figure this out in the audience. Done restaurant see must see business and this would have been in the 1930s. As long as it's in Delhi, as long electricity do Ku we nu jorbe no dari di a year. Ku Hurik on Coulter. Chancellor Health Kubeyaze. Beyaze ha lidustini than Kushan Unkui a year that Chan Yaga had dahin protect yourself from the rain. Kusunagaze so Nurik Ankanal than a Yaspa liduastini than and nothing lante hene prophesizing and nothing did it up soon lidinil sisi. Yoke and nothing is near the idina conida, 3 young lidus till hene. So that's a science in itself. So because it takes you to that story, it takes you to that scenario, even if it's abstract. Mythology, storytelling. There's one place in Black Lake that's called Natsilkai Twe, and that's a legend of the giant birds. And did a giant bird than a history to the and this is the way my parents taught me. There's other versions, so people can talk about that. That's okay. I don't totally own this story. So did it uninsured than a history way their little babies then a need to kuya setting ha sa ku did it then a see net chill or did that on us net chill huli net baby. So there some chisana hineku did it that baby giant eagle or giant bird is to in the sea. He put that person under his arm, knee to bon, na nel I see has done, then it has some in. Then in the son all that John, then it sonny cheesy bon says to her. A son isn't. Who left no hand now like him. So, and that so in cool bon night owl did it that on a chosi danasni ni. Sneho I like. That's the story you learned and you pass it on. Did it this last had about who's true and it's a feather? Not shaw, it's a giant bird. So did it begin in this tree high? John under do something like that and then not had Tanish. So yet arc and nails to did that and he's called nice called see. A year in which we answer her a year giant nothing today. Chadajun Gasahene, don't see Shana there, than not see her. Or who do he glided right across the lake in an in the air. So, and then just north of Black Lake, who get a year la nothing cut away in. So there's legends and mythology based on our lakes, and we should be naming all our lakes too, Dene Yati. So, and also how we dream. And I got cut short at how we can use mythology, storytelling into the curriculum. Then in knowledge, how then in and how anisidana done now. They go from one dimension to another dream travel. So these stories have been passed on for years, and I found many authors that talked about that, and they collected these stories. Then and Satanit Asaluni the same way. It's a quick. And there's another one, and I reference both from what my dad told me to these. It's still intact. So this is the stories that we need to pass on. And these stories that are 200, 300, 400 years old. So your intelligence, we need that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as I Bonnery, the during zone and Lala, no halhuin, one of the things, the importance of Ashna that, and even language base don't aren't in it. I'll say this in English because a lot of Dene trying to find their language. If you want to find your language, you're gonna go and have to look for it. Nene, you're gonna have to want it. And there's people like Rosalie that make this possible. And especially I learned this from an elder too. I know you want to record me and interview me, Hitney, but it can't always be that way. You got to pick it up in a certain town. You got to do the protocols and all that, and learn the way, and then eventually share it one day. Some people you have to respect that, and then some are willing to. So it's you have to learn both. Kona stena and in concert in that's something I always remember. He said, "See, Daniel, Salholnit, I right now that Iganate there in concert, this is a spiritual thing, and that's what it is, and then in from all over the world, the no hayatidit and Nezula do Rosalie Jansen no Halholnia. Ayer honnesse honninets inde na banonus alu but doing being done that's all I got. I think we can do this again. There's lots more that you can share for sure. But anything else, no, aren't in a banonus ala.
Okay. So the O has not trying to live by these Dene values. The O said chukui done when you nisin who chikui. And so Dene values and a seat in that arju we have to share. Share not also the new at Hanud Isha El Chuho. And that was number one because you nisid and those two down nala. So if they didn't share none about this, and then it's ho. Do it her it's ho. Sort her it's even community development, community leadership, school base. If we're going to build a curriculum, we help each other. It's right ho. Do hold on in none tot in her Sierra then Santong and not the Osneda or as a non Osneda in this sequence. I mean, Osneda day, I won't argue. I sorry, Sinetia, I just don't. Love each other as much as possible. So, and that's above all, you have to take care of each other and be respectful to elders and everything around you. Everything around you means the land, the water, the climate, the environment, respecting other nations, respecting Totine, respecting everything around you. So it's just not respect everything around you. It's just not just, it's really broad. And these values, and this has gone back for about over 100 years, and it's still intact. And then I know I found this somewhere in my research, and it came from Yamari Yadadi, the Dene from Northwest Territories. He still follow this. Hunte, sleep at night, yeah, and work during the day. So now look at our youth. Take a scan of our communities. So right now. So it's something to really. It's sometimes we don't want to hear the truth, but we need to take control of our children because other technology is taken over. But you have Dene Yati. Cheryl she's doing all the apps, and all the Dene scholars are out there helping. Daryl McDonald down east. There's Jesse, there's Lucy and in Manitoba Resource Center. Is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
People have to believe in us to do that because it's not the end all be all to inda. And be polite and don't argue. So maybe if you're in a fight-flight situation, maybe young boys and girls should behave respectfully. Then Nanu my family circle, my friend circle, my Facebook circle. I respect them all. Pass on your teachings, though. You have to pass them on. And let's say be happy at all times. And then you mentioned that a little bit about mental health. So we need to teach our young ones that will be no lissy, that will, how they can be happy. So those are the teachings that I really think we should use every day. Like we say it in our prayers, whichever way we pray, whether it's the Dene Yati. So spirituality, Buzzy. And another thing I just want to mention very quickly is our oral traditions in Huyache. In Fond du Lac Day, the sand dunes are beautiful, and they have a legend behind that. Some giant beavers at 90 ni thaya janidati. And then in Australia, there's a legend of the serpent. In Hawaii, the legend of the Seven Sisters, those islands. Nunide, there's lots, and I'm going to collect most of them because I have access to a lot of them. And they collected all those stories too. So there's so much, and then there's Bigfoot, right? There's Loch Ness, the legends that they have. So I always ask Dene, what's your creation story? About the legends of people. Yeah.
Nezum earlier, just gonna read out a comment about looking forward to our next master's class because you're teaching in Rosalie. What tehu achu ne atine zone hanel 10 masi chon and esteno tio tibik enelni and Willis Marcy chon dure Dene Yati podcast out tie begar beganil kat Marcy chon and esteno edzin zone wale and that's from JS Kennedy. And then code switching is a good tool to use for comprehensive input. I need a couple of comments there. Rosalie, once again,
that would be the linguist terms of it. I believe from here, I just want to stick to Dene for this podcast. Yeah. And the quote from I look forward to teaching that class too, because that starts on Sunday. See you on Liz. I'm all ready to go, and I hear there's quite a few Dene in there. See you on Liz.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dene, currently just to encourage more people, scholars. Julius Parkty is one of them. Dene that he cannot de Kani let's read as an yeah, so there's going to be more of that, but just to get young people to do more of this stuff, even to get educated, one of these things, respect boss it house and and is daring tade. If you don't respect that doorknob yesterday, you're going to be stuck. That we got to be just to kind of simplify and it's very simple, but then it can be complex if we make it. But masi choner aruzela de nina nezid aruzela dene ade and but doon zinegate na baharal leo and maybe another day so masi cho. I'm very thankful I got to meet you. That I learned a little bit about myself at Dunzinike, and another day I'll make it another day. So must
Yeah, must see. So as I tell you, today you truly that definitely we're here to share and learn from each other. So must see Nanestan. So another day I've done the thank you for listening. Must see the Jada.
Masi Cho Degaren the Rosalie to Tsannie-Burseth Hatchet Lake tours in doing McDowell, another PA just outside PA, but very interesting, very good episode doing zinig masi benestan. I just hotla den hericht ade, it's I really mean it. It makes me go and want another day, and so it's very important, I believe, that and just not even only day, but no dit it's very important dit adwinha. It's easy, and honestly, I really enjoy doing that. And I think Taylor's tweets and Gabi, I'll be there a couple days, so hope to see you all up north. And Masi Choner Hosin Salotine, and happy Canada Day if you're gonna celebrate it and all that stuff. Be safe and Te Dagar, respect one another, help each other. Masi Cho, si Willis Janvier, who in Taylor's towards the Lost Saskatchewan Clearwater River Dene Nation band member, the Hislio, and I join you from the Treaty 4 territory. Masi Cho.